Greetings, Cleveland, and welcome to Creative Focus, the show that illuminates some of Cleveland's most talented and creative artists across the genres of dance, film, music, theater, and visual arts. I'm your host, Cornell Callum III, and I'm thrilled to have as my guest today on Creative Focus, award-winning author, Miss Ladii Patterson. Ladii, welcome to Creative Focus, girl. Let's chop it up.
Okay.
So let's talk about that name, Ladii, and I know it was spelled Ladii.
Yes.
Talk about that. Where'd that come from? I love that.
It came actually from my daughter.
Okay.
My daughter, Brianna. She said that I would never answer her when she say ma or mommy, and even calling me by, my biological name. So she said she would just walk around saying, lady. And so I didn't want it to L-A-D-Y. I wanted it to be different, of course. So I decided Ladii.
I love that.
Thank you.
That. So you grew up on the East Side.
Yes.
Attended Cleveland School of Science and then Jane Addams.
Yes.
Talk about your upbringing and living on the East Side.
Well, we had a hard time when we were growing up. My mom, my dad had passed when I was little, so she did the very best that she could. So other than that, we did okay growing up. Yes.
You grew up around 89th and Woodland area?
Yes.
Did you ever go to the Woodland Rec?
I was always at the Woodland Rec. I was down there swimming and everything else. Actually, the house that we lived in was my great-grandfather's. He had the two houses that was right next to the club center.
Yes. The club center. What was the club center?
The club center, it was like a event planning place where they had events and parties and things like that. Yes.
Okay. So you've been a published author for 13 years, I understand.
Yes.
13 years. Wow. So what inspired you to start writing, Ladii?
Well, when I was younger, I had this creative imagination. So I used to write down a lot of things. So I've always journaled, always wrote, and then I just wanted the world and readers to know, my stories, my creativity.
Do you journal now?
I still do.
Yeah, because I journal, girl. So talk about your first book, Through God, She Made It.
Yes, Through God, She Made It. That is a book about my youngest daughter who have multiple disabilities. And the doctor told us that she wouldn't make it past 4 or 5 years old, or even out of the NICU. And today she's 20. She'll be 21 next month. So when she got past that milestone of the 4 and 5 years old, I really wanted everyone to know that, that God is in control.
Always in control.
Yes.
So how does faith weave itself into your themes, into your work?
Because I believe that without faith, it is the substance, and that you can't do anything without having faith in God. You have to stay obedient. You have to stay focused. You have to stay faithful.
What are some of the themes that you write about in your work?
Some of the genres? I have a children's book, Shayla and Mike's Big Adventure. I did the autobiography about my life growing up. Like I said, I did the one about my daughter growing up. Romance.
Romance.
Yes, romance. That was the one that was just prior to this one, and it's called A Lifetime of Love. And so A Lifetime of Love is a fiction romance. And when people wanted to know more about it, then that's when I made it A Lifetime of Love Parts 1 and 2, and I put the book together as one. And this one that just came out not just came out, but Testimony How Being Obedient Changed Me is inspirational and encouraging.
Okay, yeah.
So,
we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the romance. Give me a little what's going on with that romance novel.
Okay, so with A Lifetime of Love, Parts 1 and 2, it is two high school sweethearts. The mother was in the military, and the mother and father was in the military, and they always traveled. And so the two high school sweethearts, they lost each other at prom. She had to go on the whatever it's called when they're doing the military. And then they found each other again in Paris. And then it was a lot of twists and turns and some drama and secrets and things that had started coming out Yeah.
Okay, all right.
You're gonna want to read that.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
wanna
yeah.
read that one, yeah. So, lady, what are some of the challenges that you faced as being a writer? And would you say there's anything specific in terms of challenges of being a Black female writer, or no?
Well, some of the challenges in being a writer is it can be sometimes you can get writer's block. Sometimes or I have been known to like wake up in the middle of the night and just start writing before I forget about it. That can happen, or you can have, like I said, the writer's block. Another thing can be if you're an independent author. A lot of times, publishers, they don't want to deal with independent authors. Bookstores and things don't want to deal with independent authors. They want you to be like traditional or whatever. So those are some of the challenges that I have had in the past. I think it's very important to get everything you write edited now. I learned that as years went by, getting it proofread and things like that. So yeah.
And what elements in your personal life do you use in your work? I know a lot of times writers are reluctant to take elements of their personal life because then they're under scrutiny. Like I remember a friend of mine, he wrote a novel about a relationship between a brother and sister, and immediately everybody said, "Oh, that's him." So how do you navigate that? And do you use elements in your personal life in your stuff?
Yes, actually, with A Lifetime of Love Parts 1 and 2, the element that I can say that I got the title from is from the fact that me and my husband, we've been married for 30 plus years. And so that's where A Lifetime of Love comes into play, because regardless of what they went through and their struggles, they still came back together. I am known to be very nosy, so I pay attention to a lot of people's that goes on around me. I actually have a T-shirt that says, "I'm a writer. You better watch what you say in front of me," because
Right.
And then
Yeah.
I have had it where people have read that particular book and was like, "Are you talking about me?" And I could be, but I couldn't be. But but yeah. So yeah, a lot of my personal things that go on around me, like the book Shayla and Mike's Big Adventure. It is a little girl that has autism. And that is one of the diagnoses that my youngest daughter has. So I just kind of weaved it in together with a good amount of my books, yes.
And what about your relationship with God? Because I know you're a woman of God.
Yes.
I read you're a woman of God. You're a wife. You're a mother. A social butterfly.
Yes.
Let's talk about social butterfly. How would you define social butterfly? Because there are a lot of, definitions for it. But I know you said you're a social butterfly, so I want to know, the ins and outs of that.
Actually, I was named a social butterfly. Okay. I didn't realize that is what I was, or what people portrayed me as. Okay. A social butterfly to me is someone that really get along with other people.
Okay.
And everyone wants to kind of hang around and things like that. There's never a time when we're not having an event and everybody wants to show up for it. I like giving to other people. I like doing things with other people and things like that. I actually have tattoos of my butterflies because I feel like it means renewing. It comes from the cocoon and then it becomes a caterpillar, and things like that in the stages of life. And I just feel like that is how that's my characteristic.
That's a good definition of
Thank
social
you.
butterfly. Now I'll go back to the question that I asked. How does your relationship with God affect your work, your writings, would you say?
I would say that my relationship with God helps me a lot, because prior to knowing who God is, what God does, I felt like it was in my depressing moments and my depressions and the times when I was really, really struggling. So my faith in God, the relationship that I have with him has gotten stronger. And every time I look up, he's doing more and more for me. So I can just keep on having a better relationship with God. And I find myself ministering to people as I go along, even when I don't realize I'm ministering to them. So yeah.
Now, what impact would you like your books to have on the reader?
I want to continue to have a wow factor. I want people to go, aha. I want people to go, wow. Or I want them to realize that I'm just really trying to inspire and encourage people. Everyone, inspire readers across the world, so that then they will be like, okay, I like that. And they could feel like they're not alone in the things that they're going through.
Now I heard you had a billboard up. Let's talk about that billboard and how did that come about? And that's like a wow moment, I think. Yeah.
Yes, amen. Actually, I've been wanting this billboard for 2 years now. Like I said, I've been an author for 13, 14 years. I never took my career as an author seriously until 2 years ago. And that's when I decided that I wanted my career to be an authorship. So I wanted a billboard, and thanks to my publicist, she had one. And so she told me that the different things about how that helped her as far as her branding and things like that. And so for 2 years, I had been wanting one. And then finally, the Lord blessed me financially and physically and emotionally to finally get it up, and it went up yesterday.
It went up yesterday.
Yes.
Wow, that's a wild moment.
Thank you. It's right there on 77th South where you get off on 14th and Carnegie.
Have you taken pictures of it? Videos?
I did. Actually, my daughters was the first ones to put it on their social media, and I waited until my publicist had gotten a hold to it, and she helped me out with the content. So yeah.
So talk about your latest book. Testimony, how being obedient changed me.
Yes, Testimony, how being obedient changed me is actually a spinoff from my other book, which doesn't kill me, makes me stronger. Except because that was an inspirational diary as well. So this was more like a Dear Diary, the infamous Dear Diary. You know how way back when you were writing in your journal, you're like, Dear Diary. So that's how I started each chapter. And then I referenced it with scripture. So that like when it shows all the different struggles and things, how you can find it in the Word of God.
And how long did it take you to write Testimony?
It took, I want to say 2 years. A good 2 years. What I did was I kind of picked and chose different parts that I felt like that could resonate to my readers.
So do you ever go back and in your journal and then take aspects of that journal and then turn that into a novel or book at all?
Yes. I'm also thinking about making a part 2 to that eventually, to Testimony, but with, of course, maybe a different name or not, but yes.
And why did you select the title Testimony?
Because if you read the cover of the book, it's hashtag capital TEST, because in your life you have a test, and then when you get past that test, it becomes a testimony. So I felt like that was good because, we're hashtagging in social media. So it was hashtag Testimony. And then being obedient is in all capital letters because I wanted to emphasize obedience, because you need to be obedient to get past all of your testimonies.
Talk about your editing process. Do you write and then edit that page and then go on to the next page, or do you write and after you get a chapter, go back and edit it? How does that work for you? And I only say that because my process is I write everything out longhand. I I can't do it on the computer.
Okay.
I write it out longhand. Once it's longhand in a pencil, so I can make corrections on the legal pad, then I go back and I put it on the computer. Now, once it's on the computer, I can edit from the computer, but initially I'll start with a pencil and a legal pad. What's the writing process for you?
Well, I don't do it in the longhand. I actually have it on my iPad, and it's a app that I have that's like my notes or my journals. As far as doing my editing, I just simply you should see me, I'm just typing and typing, and then I find myself on like 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 words. And then when I'm done with it, then I may go over it again, but I really do prefer to now send it over to an editing department, in which that we added on a team of editor. So I would prefer to just go ahead and just get it all out of my system while the creative juices is flowing, and then send it off to the editor.
So what kind of feedback have you gotten from your work, from the audience, from the readers?
I've gotten great feedback. I've gotten, when is the next one coming? I've gotten, thank you for that, for inspiring me and encouraging me. And wow, I didn't think that I can get past this or get past that. So yeah. And then especially when it came down to my daughter, there were a lot of people. There's actually a person that she wanted to hide the fact that she had a special needs child, right? And I never would have known it. And so my daughter's book inspired her to get in contact with me and let me know that she had a special needs child and that I had inspired her.
How old is Brianna?
Brianna?
Yes.
Brianna is the one who gave me the name Ladii, but my youngest daughter with the multiple disabilities, her name is Jamie.
And how old is she now?
She's 20 now, and she'll be 21 next month.
And what's the most joyful thing that you can say about her?
Her smile. She is nonverbal, but I know that she clearly understands what we are talking about and speaking about. She wants to interact with everything that we're talking about by way of laughing a lot because she's nonverbal, but I know that she's probably thinking to herself, what are they talking about or something? Oh yeah.
Have you had book signings for your book?
I have had book signings for my books at Barnes & Noble, where they sold out at Eaton Park.
Okay.
I've had a book signing down at Cleveland Clinic at Joseph Beth. I've been in a festival in Columbus. Yes, I've had a good amount of book signings, yes.
And what's the most enjoyable thing that you can think about having those book signings? What's the most gratifying thing that happened from one of those book signings, would you say?
Signing the books itself, it makes me feel really good when they buy the book or when I'm reading about a passage or something or a part of the book. It just feels good to know that that my writing didn't go in vain.
What advice would you give for a person aspiring to be an author?
I want to say, take your time, continue to keep writing. As when the thoughts come to you, just continue to keep writing about them. I want to say also make sure you get it edited because I didn't know that 13, 14 years ago. Okay, so I think that is very important. If you have to be an independent author, that is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But marketing is very important. I didn't learn that until later on too, and within the last year or two. In branding yourself, branding your name. It's not so much about the sales; it's about letting everyone know who you are.
And how do you market? How do you go about marketing your works, Ladii?
Well, we market through social media.
Okay.
I just went and got a yard sign.
A yard sign.
Yes, and my family thought I had lost my mind, but it's okay. But just trying to get my name out there. So
Right.
I did. I got the yard sign. I
like that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Maybe I need to go get a yard
You're
sign.
right. Just give
me
your
that phone number after the show.
Yes. We do street teaming. We have been known to go to Columbus or wherever we go around and we pass out the flyers. On the back of my phone, I have my business card it's a magnet, you scan it.
Right.
And then that's the way of getting to my link tree and learning different things about me. Word of mouth. Oh my gosh, word of mouth. You just got to go old school with it a lot of times because not everyone is on social media.
Right.
So you have to do those things. And then, of course, my lovely billboard.
Billboard. Yeah, we keep coming back to that billboard.
Yes.
So in 2023, you received this prestigious, is it Marquee Who's Who?
Right.
Talk about that. That is incredible.
Oh my goodness.
How did that come about?
I was scrolling through my phone, through my emails, like I always do. And then I got an email that said, we want to put you in our Marquis Who's Who. And at first I did not know who that was. And so I had to ask my mom about it. And she thought that was really great because she was seeing that there was a lot of other celebrities and people from way back when, prestigious people and things like that had been into the Marquis Who's Who.
Okay.
So anyway, after I responded to the email, and then they did the interview with me, and then
the next is history.
Yes.
You have a podcast.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Talk about that a little bit. Let's Talk with Ladii. Is
Yes.
that it? Talk.
Yes.
How did that come about? You just a Renaissance woman.
Thank you. Let's Talk with Ladii. I have been wanting to do a podcast for a while now. Talking to other people, getting to know about people all over the world. These are I've had actors, I've had directors, more authors and things like that. It was mostly Audible. And so we went through our second season. In the first season, it was mostly me just coming up with inspirational things and things like that. And then in the second season, I did various interviews with different people. And then as I get going towards season 3, which is going to be sometime next year, that's the goal anyway, it's going to be visual.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So what are your final goals? What are your aspirations? What are you working on? What can I expect from Ladii Patterson in the upcoming weeks, months, years?
Well, first of all, I have my author event at the Garfield Heights Public Library, November 23rd.
Okay.
I have another project that is going to come out next year as well.
Okay.
Hint, hint, romance.
Oh yeah. Okay. I'll tune in.
My goal is to do a book tour sometime next year. The goal is to go state to state, get more billboards in different states. That is the goal. I'm always thinking and working on something and more to do. Yeah.
Okay. Well, hey, you know what? It's been a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you.
Man. This has been a while. I'm going to have to go out and check out that billboard.
Yes, and take a picture and tag me.
Tag you. I'll do that. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you so much.
I'd like to thank my special guest, Ladii Patterson, for hanging out with us today on Creative Focus. So that's it, Cleveland. We're out. But remember, a true artist is not only inspired, but inspires others. I'm Cornell Calhoun III for TV 20 and Creative Focus. Until the next time becomes our time, be well, be safe.